The Black Goat laughs. Yeah, this is a tech choice, along with a few other interesting things to keep an eye on. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So, I've been deep diving a little bit this morning through the Black Goat laughs tech choice in the OCG. And a lot of you are going to be like, Robbie, are you just trying to push this card? Honestly, no. Like, I started seeing this show up in quite a few decks in the OCG. Obviously, you know, sometimes you'll have transaction rollback showing up alongside this, but I mean, you get to declare a monster card name. This turn, neither player can special summon monsters with that original name, except from the graveyard. Now, you can literally name anything, and your opponent cannot special summon it. Now, it's not stopping. If you're playing this against fire, I mean, obviously they can still normal summon the Snake Eyes Ash, but you could technically use this, stop a Flamber's Dragon from coming out of the deck. That can be very, very good. Now, your secondary effect of this is we can banish this from the graveyard, declare a monster card name. This turn, neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field with that original name. You can only use the Black Goat Laughs effect per turn, and only once that turn. Ah, boy. Okay, so once again, we come back to the what are we using this for? Anything. that's the crazy part about this card. I think the specific spot removal of being able to deny anything the chance to play, aka Flamber's Dragon, you know, if you have to focus more on the Snake Eyes Ash, you know, whatever of these choices that you need to call. If you're against actually Voiceless Voice, you can call, you know, Sarvis, Skull Guardian, you know, any of those cards, and they can't come out. Like, if you know the matchup, this card is the GOAT. Yeah, I had to. I'm sorry. But I wonder if the TCG, if we continue to see things develop on our side of the game, if we will see people start to tech this card in side decks or even main decks to try to slow things down. Like, about time, actually. Now, this Planet Pollutin virus, you heard me read that to you correctly. So I saw the coolest Odotic hybrid pile of Evil Sore stuff showing up out here, and I was like, okay, so we're messing around with the reptile good stuff again. And I'd never really learned how to play the intricacies of, you know, this pile, but to be honest with you, I look at it and I'm just kind of excited to know that, you know, you're able to do something with this. Now, obviously, it's literally you have to tribute an alien. So your best bet if you're trying to abuse this card would be, guess what? You do have an alien Link monster on a Link 2 that already can do interactions for you. And then you can kind of start to get into more of the little crazier things. If you're going to try to start messing around with Cosmic Slicer, Zoral, and some of those other reptile monsters. But this is a free board wipe, all right, which is actually pretty good. And it literally gives you free A counters on all of the passive turns. Like, I know a lot of people don't really look at this card, but this is strictly on, hey, you know, we're looking at some of these reptile hybrids. Do keep in mind that Rika is coming out next set with Legacy, and that means if you're looking at some of these absolutely hilarious ideas in here, I think that that's something that you might actually want to consider. Actually, like the Planet Pollutin virus for its little tech ability, also, you know, just generic alien support. I think it's worth it, honestly. Also, this card, to the best of my knowledge, we don't know if we'll ever get a reprint on it, even though it's all the way back from Crimson Crisis or what CRMS. Like, what are we doing, Konami? Why do we not have a reprint for this thing at this point? But hey, aliens, they're real. Mementos. Now, for those of you that do know, in the upcoming set, Momento gets the ability to fuse and to make a twin-headed Thunder Dragon-esque card, which is actually pretty freaking cool. Like, I'm actually kind of excited to see what we can actually do with Momento. And it's also one of those decks that I think, like, the 5,000 is one of the coolest ideas for a boss monster we had. It's also big. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's trying to mess around with more larger boss monsters at this point in time. And I think I think they're doing a good job of it. It's just, you have to keep raising the scale on these huge boss monsters. And the fact, you have this 5,000 for kind of like free to deploy is kind of easy. Now, we have noticed a little bit over time here that, the way the Momento is in terms of prices, it is so freaking cheap. Like, it is actually, I think, the cheapest of the deck cores that was available in the set, next to, actually I think Valmonica is officially now more expensive than Centurion stuff. All right, then, the combined creation Momento pile. So if this is something that you're wanting to play with, or if you've been deciding, hey, maybe I want to pick up Valmonica, maybe I want to pick up Momento, I think Memento's the one that seems crazier to me for the long haul. A 5,000 big monster that you can just throw down. There's just something about having large monsters in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That tends to put a smile on your face. You know what I mean? So give this some consideration. I do think that it's worth keeping an eye on out here. Next up, I actually want to talk about Rescue Ace here for a second. So a lot of people have been kind of having the discussion and going, Robbie, is Rescue Ace worth picking up right now? So they're not going to hit anything in the deck again. All right, realistically. And I mean, I could be wrong, but looking at the current state of the way that Rescue Ace is, obviously it got foreshadowed massively by, the instant crazy drop that Fire has put on the meta. But they did reprint Hydrant, and all of the cards in the deck did plummet down in value. Actually, I think to get a Rescue Ace core at this point is actually some of the cheapest. Actually, I think it is the cheapest it's ever been at this point. It's like, I think Hydrants are they should be under $5s as of filming this. Maybe if you're lucky and somebody at your locals hasn't, you might be able to get them for $5 a set. All right, which is pretty good. Now, obviously, the things that do make the deck more expensive, like the Wanted stuff and things like that. But if you're somebody out here, it's like, I know the Wanted package, its time is limited. Well, then maybe you should start eyeing the Rescue Ace stuff. I mean, you've got to remember the potential to set 4 cards remains absolutely crazy. All right, like most decks had a hard enough time playing through that stuff. So I do think for now, if you are looking at like cheap deck cores and things to definitely consider, I don't foresee them reprinting at Rescue Ace stuff again. I feel like they were like, hey, we reprinted this now, we've done our thing, which just means everything that's left for the deck is just going to kind of float out there in limbo for you to do your thing. I don't know if it's going to have competitive application in the future. Once again, it depends on how crazy we do see the Wanted package and stuff continue to float around out there, but I just wanted to point that out. And the last one actually is brought to my attention. I want to talk about this in Market Watch tomorrow. It's the GX games for PSP, Tag Force. Now, you might not know this, but GX Tag Force 3 has $100+ price tag right now. I did my research into this, and I was like, what in the world is going on with this? Like, what has possessed these sorts of crazy values to kind of start to turn over here? And I don't really have an answer for you. I believe that Tag Force 3 is probably one of the more scarce ones out there. I also know that, was it 3 that was the slightly more unique one, and the way that the PSP games actually played? But video game nostalgia, I've noticed in the last, actually like right now, is actually kind of crazy. Like, the sheer amount of value that these older games are seeing like money for is actually kind of crazy to me. I remember Tag Force 5, people were throwing that thing around for $5 many years ago. And then you escalate up to this point in time and you're just like, what in the world is going on here? Like, why are all of these games starting to hit, these interesting price points? And I don't know. I just wanted to report on this and go, wow, people are really spending $130 for a Tag Force PSP game just to be able to play it. And that's kind of crazy to me. So what do you guys think about everything here? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.